Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Between Two Pods. My name is Slade Plays Games, and the guy with the juice box is Joey.
The adult man with the juice box. Sorry, I didn't realize that would make a noise.
Yeah. Have you ever seen people who take syringes, like ones that you would use to inject like chicken or a turkey, right, with juices?
Yeah.
But you put vodka in it?
No, I haven't seen that.
You should try it. Anyways, Joey's joining me for this. It's kind of the Uno reverse card of Between Two Pods. Now, we had a forum on Twitter and in our Discord, which you should join. And Joe, I haven't seen the questions. I have no idea. I don't know who's filled this out. I just sent this list to everybody who's been a guest, and we had this public. But yeah, you know, I hope to have some good stuff here. Joey's kind enough to read them out to me and be the one to talk to. I wouldn't ask Tim to do this.
Oh, poor Tim.
Well, he doesn't listen to this anyway, so we could say whatever we wanted to about him.
Yeah, well, I was going to say something, but I don't want to say that. That's far too mean. So Slade, Joey's just cracking. We've got a lot of responses here. There's a lot of questions.
Let's do it. I'm really excited. I would also like to say real quick, before we get too far ahead, Between Two Pods, small hiatus because I'm out of guests at the moment. Which part of the forum we had, you could suggest somebody, and oh boy, I'm going to be tagging every single one of them on Twitter and DMing them to get their attention. And you make sure you pester them as well and say, hey, respond to Slade. He has questions.
Do that. But Slade won't tell you who, so just send that to everyone. Respond to Slade. Talk to Slade.
Talk to Slade, right? The other thing is, thank y'all so much, and I do mean this, for the overwhelming response to Between Two Pods. I'm glad everybody enjoys the series. It seems from the guests to the listeners, everybody really likes it. And I know we talk a lot of shit on the show, but genuinely, thank you very much.
You guys can't see this, but Slade's crying. Slade, when I read out these people who have who've responded, do you want to give them like a little shout out on their podcast? There are some podcasts, some without podcasts. It's up to you.
You just read off who they are, and
Sure.
if you read the name of their podcast, then that's their little shout out, isn't it?
So the first person on this list is my friend and yours, Satsu from Chatsunami.
Ah, Satsu, who I've been trying to get on the show forever. You cheeky little panda.
Cheeky boy. Satsu has sent in 3 questions.
Okay.
But before we get on to the questions, Satsu has also said for his suggestion for a guest, Chatsunami.
Just schedule it with me. You're driving me nuts, my man.
Slade likes you too much to tell you this to your face, but he really wants you on. So he said, question number 1, how hyped are you for the finale of Attack on Titan?
It's one of those, I'm happy the story is ending and we're not doing like a One Piece or a Naruto where it's going on forever. But at the same time, I don't want it to go. But I'm happy that it's concluding.
I finished my juice box now, you won't hear that again. So how about the dub of Season 3, the finale, Part 1, Part 2, Part 6, Part 9, Part 2?
How do I feel about the dub? It's taking way too long to get out. I haven't listened to the latest one at time of recording because my girlfriend's currently watching it, so I'm going to watch it with her, and then she can see me cry like a big baby at one point.
That's nice. So, Satsu's second question is, why is Resident Evil 4 the best game?
It's not.
I really like that kind of question because it shows that people really listen to
That's true.
The podcast. Slade loved Resident Evil 4.
I think it's an influential game, but I think it's a big piece of poopy. Joey lied. He wasn't finished with his juice box.
Just there's a little bit at the end I wanted to get, but it's in the bin now. So if you hear me drinking out of it again, you'll know that I fished it out of the bin. I know the answer to this, but I'd like you to really go into depth here. So the third and final question from Satsu is, what do you prefer, AAA or indie gaming?
It's always indie gaming. It's always, and well, it used to be AAA back when they cared, and I know everybody could say that. The problem with AAA today and why it's not is that it tries to be everything. It wants to be open world. It wants to have crafting. It wants to have survival. It wants to have exploration. It wants to have a forced stealth game. And indie games, because they don't have the pressure of the publishers and the investors, then they can really get deep into the primary gameplay loop, and they can really focus on their game. And if your game does not have a good primary gameplay loop, it will not be fun. If you're trying to do everything, you do not have a primary gameplay loop. So like, take Joey, we really praised Neon White at the beginning of this year.
Yeah,
that indie game, solid gameplay loop. I said the plot is baby's first anime, but that just goes to show you that the game is so much fun, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, that was the consensus that we came to.
Yeah.
And I know we've got some AAA games that you really love coming up. So
yeah. So and that's, again, it's just when it tries. That's my big problem with AAA. It tries to focus on way too many things, and it tries to force too many things.
Do you not think that this? I think the question is a really interesting one. But if I put, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a AAA game you love. Let's say Horizon Zero Dawn, which I know you have a real fondness for.
Yes.
Is AAA, right?
Yes.
What if I put that against Faraway Horse, which is an indie game, which is terrible? I think it's you need to consider this as
Faraway Horse is a meme.
basis.
Faraway Horse is like a meme game. Let's be real. It's
Well,
a meme game.
I'm trying to think of which games we've done recently that I can talk about.
So if you had like made me choose between Horizon and like Undertale, I'm obviously going to pick Undertale because I think
you would, but they're both games that are good. What I'm trying to say is
Right.
you need to base each game on their individual merit rather than, because there are some very good AAA games.
Yes. AAA still makes, it's just, there's a good little gem every now and then. Baldur's Gate, Starfield, at current time, Tears of the Kingdom, Diablo 4. There's been good stuff recently. Joey's kind of nodding his head back and forth and like he kind of agrees, but it's not that AAA can do it. It's just
AAA doesn't do it.
They don't do it. They can, and it's very disappointing. They can do it, they just don't do it.
I think you're right. I think they try and cater for too wide an audience because the budget that they put into it is so vast.
Right.
That, in order to make a profit, you need to have mass appeal.
But you also get something like Tears of the Kingdom I'm going to use, right? It was finished last year in 2022, right? And then they just took a year to polish it. You don't see many AAA studios doing that. And I know Nintendo's like its own breed. Do not get me wrong whatsoever. But if every AAA game took the time to do that, could you imagine how great video games would be?
Yeah, I agree. So as a reminder, Chatsunami said he wants to be a guest on Between Two Pods. If you don't hear that episode soon, send Satsu some DMs. Next up, we have Bill from the Gaming and Collecting podcast / the 3DO Experience.
Yeah, Bill's a lovely chap.
I got that impression from the episode that you did with them.
Yeah.
So Bill said, what was one of your favourite podcasting moments?
Well, it's obviously that 3 is always... it's always one that comes to mind.
Stereotype, yeah.
Yeah, it's always one that comes to mind. It's that, and I've said it several times, the Zelda trilogy where we bought Joey Breath of the Wild, and Joey having no experience, just coming in and gushing. I really like it when we can all actually just gush about a game and all really appreciate something that's good. I don't like hating on games. I really don't.
You could have fooled me, Slade.
I'm sure it could have fooled a lot of people, but
no,
yeah.
I'm kidding. I know that you like to like games.
Yeah.
So Bill also said, if you could go back and relive one moment from your podcasting, generous word use here, one moment from your podcasting career, what would it be?
Go and relive one moment. I don't know. I don't know if I would have wanted to relive. We've had a lot of fun recording. I forgot what session we did where we did like 4 or 5 in a row.
I would not relive that.
I think it was Podmas is what it was. And I know it's a sore subject, Joe, but I enjoy doing the Podmas stuff. It's fun. Did. It's just little goofy stuff. I think that's really the fun of it.
I'm going to get you to commit to Podmas on the pod now. Are we doing it this year?
I thought we were.
Hell yeah, we're doing it this year.
Thanks, Tim, for your commitment. You don't listen to this, but you've committed.
Yeah. Cool. So, and Bill also wanted to know, if you could start a new podcast project, what would it be about?
Technically, this was kind of the new podcast project, just under the game club, just because anybody can come on this and talk to me. If I did another one, it would either be about anime or it'd be about music. It'd be one or the other, and that'd be kind of like a coin toss between the two.
What about anime music?
Oh, that'd be the combination show for the two.
Slade listens to anime music.
Yeah, I have a whole playlist on my phone that's just anime intros.
I know. You've shared it with me more than once.
Yeah, the Hentai Jams playlist, if you want to look for that on Spotify.
Yeah. Find that. Make Slade a popular DJ on Spotify. So, Bill has suggested a few people for you to have on.
Okay.
Bill has asked that you invite Retro Hangover, the Still Loading podcast, Superpod Saga, a novel console, Games with John and James, and Friday Night Gamecast.
Okay, well, I've been on Superpod Saga before, so we do owe those guys a lovely little invite back over. So yeah, we could do that.
Cool.
I think it was Aaron who invited me on. We did some kind of game night on their podcast. I don't remember what it was, but yeah.
Nice. So moving on to your friend and mine, Dan from Casting Views. I don't know why Daniel slipped out then.
That's his proper name. Daniel from Casting Views.
Daniel from Casting Views. Dan messaged me earlier about the horrific congratulations on 3 years message that we sent him. He said, I can't believe Tim said bon appetit. Yeah.
I would like to say, if you did listen to that first of all, listen to Casting Views. That's a great podcast. But that Tim and I unpromptedly just started talking over each other. That was not scripted or planned. Joey essentially said between recordings, hey, can we do this real quick while we're all here?
Yeah, you went for a solid minute, just waffling the pair of you. So Dan has said that he'd like to see you have the Movie Wire podcast.
Okay.
On Between Two Pods. He's also said, and Casting Views.
Okay.
You're
I can have
Dan.
I'm about to say, Dan, you're always welcome to come back and talk.
Dan has asked if you could be the co-host of any other podcast or podcasts, which would they be and why?
You know what? I would co-host Casting Views.
Oh, made me feel sick, Slade.
Well, I think it'd be fun. Or maybe get more in rotation with Talking Smack. This way they can get some more video game stuff in. Josh, forget about it, Scar. Are you listening, sir?
Forget about it. Any others? This doesn't have to be in the indie podcast.
No, it doesn't.
Really like the Yahtzee.
Yeah, the slightly something else. I don't know if I'd want to contribute to that conversation. Sometimes I have things I think about with it, but I don't know. It's one of those don't meet your heroes things. He comes off as quite a pretentious dick sometimes, and I think that's just a part of him in general.
Okay, cool.
So, but I don't think I would actually want to be on his show.
Would you like to be on any others besides Casting Views and Talking Smack? There was a while where you were on everyone's show.
I think that's kind of why I'm having a hard time answering this question, because I've been on everybody's show.
Nice.
And I have a guest or two appearance lineup at the moment that I don't know if I can give away or not.
It's up to you.
Ooh, I think I can actually. So 1 hour, one decision.
Okay.
We're gonna be playing. I'm not gonna give the game away.
Game. You're gonna be playing a game.
We're gonna be
the
playing.
premise for their podcast is really interesting.
I quite like it. They only played the first hour. Man, I'm telling you, we should have taken that and ran with it.
Instead, we played 160 hours.
The hour game. Yes. And then the other one is Tales from the Backlog. Gonna be going on there to talk about something as well. So
nice.
Should be good.
There you go, Dan. So if you want to hear Slade on some other...
Oop. Joey?
Sorry, I put myself on mute. Let me do that again so you can
I
edit
thought
it
Zencaster, bro.
No, let me do that again so you can edit it in. So, Dan, if you want to hear Slade be the co-host of another podcast, there was a period of time where he was basically on every single podcast that there is. So you can either find all of them or you can listen to 1 Hour, One Decision or Tales from the Backlog. So keep an eye out for those. our next question comes from Between Two Gamers.
Ooh, nice.
Between Two Gamers. So they recommended that you get Friday Night Gamescast on. So that's the second vote for Friday Night Gamecast. And they said, really tied into video games, would you rather have hands for feet or feet for hands?
Hands for feet. Hands for feet.
Imagine the dexterity.
I already can pick stuff up with my toes anyway, you know?
Me too.
So, yeah.
It really freaks Jenny out.
Yeah, I do that, if I drop a pin or something and, barefoot or whatever, I just pick it up with my feet.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the video of, I know you've heard of the comedian Rob Beckett.
Yes.
There's a video of him on Would I Lie to You eating a banana only using his feet. You should try that.
I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a go.
Good. So next we have Chris from 1 Hour 1 Decision. That's a familiar name. And Chris has suggested any and everyone loved being on, and others should enjoy the Slade session. How does that make you feel? Warm and fuzzy inside?
It makes me feel very warm and fuzzy. I'm, like I said, that's my favorite thing about Between Two Pods. All the people we get to talk to, 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Good. Basically, you just like getting to do a podcast without me and Tim, don't you?
It's easier to schedule.
I can imagine so. So Chris has asked, if you could ask your favourite game developer to make one game, what would it be?
My favorite game developer? So basically, I gotta ask Toby Fox to hurry up with Deltarune. That's what it is. I don't know what else I'd have him make.
Let's not get back into Deltarune.
I don't know what else I'd ask him to make. And then I would love to see the guys at Activision remastered the classic Call of Duties. That would be tremendous to see.
Would you ask Toby Fox to remaster Call of Duty?
I'd ask him to make Papers, Please.
Yeah, it'd be good.
That could be fun. Lucas Pope could do. He's got a game. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't have any way to play it, but there's this handheld, and it's got a crank on one side of it.
No, I've never seen
crank. And he's got a game that's exclusive to it. I'm not buying a console to play one game.
Why? You bought a PlayStation 5 for that reason.
Don't remind me.
So thank you for your question, Chris. We have another submission from Between Two Gamers, so I can only assume it is the other of the two gamers.
Yes, which their podcast is on hiatus now, and I do hate to hear that.
That's big sad.
It is.
Once again, recommended Friday Night Gamecast. So, I mean, technically 3 votes for Friday Night Gamecast. What is your personal favourite episode?
Ooh, of this podcast?
I would assume so, yeah.
Favorite
Not
episode?
of anything ever.
Favorite of anything ever? And then I name, what's the episode of Futurama where Fry's dog dies?
I'm not a big Futurama fan, if I'm
Are you
honest
not?
with you.
I quite like Futurama. It'd be something recent, because we talk a lot, and we record a lot of these in advance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at Spotify now, to be honest with you. What's the last thing? It'd be something we had a lot of fun with, wouldn't it? You know what? I think Hunt Down the Freeman, maybe, which is a weird thing for me to say, but it was good to give something a proper shin kicking that we all hated.
It was so horrible.
And I had such vindication because you and Tim both were like, "Oh, I can't believe he used no clipping."
Yeah, and then we had to use no clipping.
Yeah. I felt so vindicated. I really did.
Fair enough.
That and what's the other really crappy game that we played?
There's been a few of them.
Duke Nukem.
Dick Kickem.
Yeah, I like it when we can all get together to give a game a proper shin kicking.
Cool. I like the answer. I do think that there is something in shared misery that makes great content. Yeah. I really enjoy listening to, and I really phrase that purposefully. I enjoy listening to, not recording or the prep for. The Sonic the Hedgehog April Fool's game we played?
Yes.
Yeah. Misery breeds great comedy.
Yeah.
So next we have a non-podcasting participant, and it's Jacker, Pete.
Oh, hey Pete. Thank you for the mug, by the way. This is very nice of you.
You can tell him that before.
I have. I'm just saying this public. He gave me a mug that says "Architect Tears" on it.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too.
I like it. So Pete has suggested, hello for Magic Tavern or Greetings Adventures would be really funny to see on, but they might be hard to get. Any old guest is good, to be honest, though new questions, lol. Maybe some VR or anime people, as they have been a part of other pods. I don't think there have been any on. So nothing specific there. I think there's two specific ones. I don't know, hello for Magic Tavern or Greetings Adventurers.
I'm not familiar either, but I always go and listen, like, before we have somebody on, or, somebody suggested, I always go listen to their podcast for a bit before having them on.
Okay.
So
there's a couple there for you. So,
okay. I've said before, and I agree with Pete, I would love to do some VR stuff. We just, I've said before, I can't ask you, Joey, to buy a VR headset. I just can't do that.
No. You could give me one, but I mean, this is ironic coming from Pete's question, because Pete gave me the Nintendo Switch we use for Nintendo games. So
right.
I am the podcast cherry case.
Technically, I could. I still have my HTC Vive.
I couldn't ask you to do that. So Pete wants to know: will any of the pods you ever make, be done in a video format?
So I have brought up a few times to you and Tim about just streaming the raw recording on Twitch and then hosting the live afterwards, the edited one afterwards. I don't really know beyond maybe a YouTube video what we could do, and then that's so much more editing. Editing already kills so much time.
Yeah.
I've said before, say an episode of Game Club is an hour long. I always say it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours to edit it at the end.
Yeah.
This is easy. Between two pods is super easy to edit, just because you basically I sync Joey and I up, throw in the little music that you hear in the background, and it's out the door.
Fair enough. Yeah. I think that we couldn't, because every now and then, not very often, but every now and then we need to cut some content because boys be boys joking. Some of it we think, well, that might be a bit too on the nose, so we sometimes cut that, but you don't get that luxury when you live stream it or do it as a video. I think the only thing that is that people, a lot of podcasts submit video clips to Twitter, to TikTok, to Instagram in order to increase their following, but it's just not something that's ever really appealed, is it?
No, and I think most people for podcasts, they want to listen to it. If you're like me, I listen to it while I'm at work, and if I'm cleaning the house, grocery shopping, that's when I'm listening. I don't want to sit on my couch and watch a podcast.
Yeah, I agree. Pete's next question. Pete has done 3 questions. 2 of them are about podcasts. 1 of them isn't.
Okay.
And he's done it in a sandwich format. So this is the non-podcast.
That's okay.
Question. He said, do you think the younger generations will ever be able to buy a house in the future without being in crippling debt?
Yes. I just think it's about how you go about purchasing it. And to give you an example, I'm about to get really nerdy with my work and things that I do, but you can get a better interest rate and you can almost finance the entire thing with no down payment if you buy in certain areas. So the answer is yes. Interest rates suck at the moment. They're 7.5% on the loans. It should, I'm saying should in big air quotes, should go down. But yeah, I think at some point, I don't know how y'all's market is here. It's fine. I'm house hunting at the moment for myself. So
Yeah, but you got your house under quite specific circumstances. You won it by keeping your hand on a car for 48 hours.
Yeah, I wanted a Mr. Beast raffle.
Yeah,
Right.
that was it. But also, I think interest rates roughly are about double here.
Okay.
I think they're close to 15% at the moment.
Yeah, and like to give you an idea, in like the middle of COVID, they were down to 2% here.
That's mad.
Yeah. So, and you know, they're way too high at 7. Yeah. No, somebody who's looking right now, just keep an eye on it, keep tabs on it. That's the best thing you can do at the moment. The other thing is, a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize I don't know, y'all don't really do credit score over there, but for your American audience, if your credit score is pretty good, you can probably qualify for a mortgage if you have enough in savings, realistically, and a mortgage is way less than rent.
Yeah, but we did talk about this before in that house prices here are ludicrously insane.
Yeah, because we've talked about like the fact that I live on like an acre of land and like a 1,100 square foot house, and
What's the exact address of that?
Yeah, exactly. 123 Not Your Business Lane. But you know, and I bought this place 10 years ago, coming up, for like $60,000. And it's got a workshop and a separate shed in the backyard, and you know, that'd be unheard of where you live, and I am very well aware of that. And a lot of places in the country, that's unheard of.
Yeah, I think what you need to do is tell people to invest in certain types of cryptocurrency. Tell them that they should have a Tesla at this stage in their life, and then play the Another White Boy with a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So going back to this theme of sandwiches, Pete has also asked, what would your podcast themed sandwich be? What would it be in it, and what would it be named? And he said in brackets, for any of the pods you make.
For any of the pods that I make, I think Game Club would have to be.
It could be a club sandwich.
That's what I'm thinking. It has to be a club, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's got to have game meat in.
Okay. So it can't just have like the regular old ham and turkey. It's got to have like deer in it. Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Sandwich.
Yeah, it's got to have venison in it. That's fine. I like venison myself.
Venison club sandwich.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm wild hog bacon on it. That actually sounds pretty good, to be honest. Now,
well, that's what I'll see Slade eating during the next Game Club recording.
I think that between two pods, though, would have like chicken wraps. You know, something easy to hold and everybody likes. You know, a little lettuce, maybe some kind of sauce to dip it in.
I like
maybe like a spicy mayo or something. You know, like a little serving cup on the side. You could add it to it, or you could just dip your sandwich.
I see between two pods as one sandwich cut into lots of little sandwiches, so you can share it with other podcasts.
Oh, it's like a party platter. That's what it is. It's a party platter. There we go.
Yeah, but it's full of all kinds of things because you have all kinds of podcasts on here.
Right.
Yeah, nice. Well, I hope you enjoy your Game Club pod sandwich. Cool. So next we have Matt from Decaying with the Boys.
Hey. Hi, Matt.
Matt has suggested a few podcasts.
Okay.
He said me, so Decaying with the Boys.
Okay.
Antonio from the Cultworthy, a name I hear quite a lot in the indie podcast circles that we're in. The Red Dove podcast and the Social Animals podcast. So there's 4 there for you to add to your extensive list. Matt has 4 questions, and one of them I think will be the quickest question we ever answer. So
all right,
I'll save that one for the end. So imagine your most hated video game. What could you do to make it better/epic? So first, what is your most hated video game?
What is my most hated video game?
Could you narrow it down and do it based on the games that we've done on the podcast?
If we do it on that, it's Hunt Down the Freeman.
Okay. What could be done to make it better/epic?
What we do is we fire the level designer, and in charge of the level design will be the guy who is in charge of the cinematic direction.
Okay, I like it.
Right. And then what we also fire is the guy who is making up original monsters for you to fight.
Yeah.
Using the source engine anyway. Just get monsters from the source engine. In Half-Life 1, you're fighting the Vortigons. Just use those. You don't need to make some imaginary monster.
Yeah.
That looks like a bunch of Duplo smashed together. Just use what would have been enemy accurate, characters at the time.
What I'm hearing is stop Hunt Down the Freeman being a mod for Half-Life and just make it Half-Life.
Yeah, just make it accurate.
Okay, cool.
I think you could have shoehorned your little fan servicey story in there, because I mentioned in our episode on that I understand, like where the direction came from, but it was really stupid.
Fair enough. So question number 2: what's your favorite Halloween tradition?
Ooh, it's when I was much younger. But do you know what egging is?
Yeah. So explain for anyone who doesn't know what egging is.
So when I was younger and I was a little hooligan, I used to egg people's houses, egg small children, and egg people's cars. That's where you buy a bunch of eggs and you throw it at people's property.
Have you ever been hit with an egg?
I have.
It really hurts.
Now, the other half of that, do you know what rolling is?
No.
So rolling is where you buy toilet paper and you chuck it in somebody's tree. Right?
That's called TPing here.
Okay, so it's called rolling here. So you get a bunch of your buddies, you hop in the bed of their truck, so this way you can hop out quickly, chuck all the toilet paper. But I was at a Winn-Dixie once here, and I was like 15 maybe, hanging out with my high school friends. And sorry, it's a true story. I'd have to find somebody that can back me up on this. I'd have to bring someone in, but I had like a bunch of like 18 packs of toilet paper, right? Because it's Halloween night. We're going to hit a lot of people's trees. And the cashier was looking at me real suspicious buying all this toilet paper. And she said, "What do you need all this toilet paper for?" I told her I was from the orphanage.
Oh, Slade.
There was a case of food poisoning that had broken out.
That's so awful.
She gave me a discount.
No, that's awful. That's so bad. Have I ever told you about my friend who was at Halloween one year was dressed as a sheep, and he covered himself in cotton wool, and through many a circumstance over the night set himself on fire, and cotton wool burns, as you can imagine, so he ended up needing skin grafts on the top of his arms.
Oh god.
And he had some quite noticeable scars, and when I was with him and someone asked him what they were from, he would either tell them that he saved orphans from a burning building or he was a surfer and he just fought a shark.
Thinking back to that story, I mean, I got tears in my eyes laughing about that.
That's so bad. Moving swiftly on from that, what is the best quote from a movie ever?
Best quote from a movie?
You're not a big movie person.
I'm not a big movie person, but would it be...
Is it from Big Fish?
No, it's not from Big Fish. I was thinking of Dirty Harry.
Okay.
Make My Day. That's got to be way up there, right?
Yeah, it depends on what you're looking for.
Oh, have you ever seen Animal House?
No.
Okay, there's a bit, John Belushi's in the movie, and it's one of my favorite comedies. It's the same people who did Airplane.
Mm-hmm.
And he eats like this cream. I mean, he's sloppily, hands eating, and he eats this big like cream pie or whatever, and his cheeks are all the way out, and he goes, "Hey, guess what I am?" And then he just takes his hands and goes, like slaps both his cheeks, and the cream goes all over the popular girl, and he goes, "I'm a zit."
That's so up your street.
Or it could be just in Airplane itself, where Roger, what's your Vector?
Airplane has thousands of great.
Airplane has, it's the. You couldn't make, honestly, you couldn't do that movie today just because it is so offensive. I have one that I can't say, and I think this is gonna be my movie quote. But if you've seen Blazing Saddles, And if you know the intro to the movie, when the sheriff is coming up to town, that is one of the funniest bits to me.
What does he say?
I'm white, so I can't say it.
See, if you don't give it any more context than that, it makes it sound like it's just the word, and
No,
that's your favorite quote.
It's the whole bit coming up to it, though.
Fair enough.
No.
So, now for the really quick question from Matt.
Okay.
If you had to eliminate one from history, would it either be A, Super Mario Brothers, or B, Final Fantasy?
Final Fantasy.
Told you it was a very quick question.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Okay, we're moving on to participant 9 out of 17 here, Slade.
Ooh, good lord. Well, we're moving through this pretty quickly.
We are.
Yeah.
So, this is from...
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to read it as they've put it?
Sure.
Your wonderful girlfriend with a heart.
Okay.
And this is the bit. So I contacted you about this and told you that some of the things she said made me feel like I wanted to be sick in my mouth.
Yep.
So she said, people that you want on, honestly, anyone that likes games as much as you do.
Well, I think that's my regular co-host, Joey and Tim.
No, I don't like games half as much as you do, Slade. She says, why are you so handsome?
I'm not.
You are a very handsome man, Slade. I'm wet just looking at you. You know when you say something and you think, fucking hell, this is on record?
Yes. Can I share with you something that I sent her earlier today?
It's a joke. You can leave that in.
I'll ask her how she feels about it later, but
That's great. I like it. How do I compare?
pretty good.
The best. I like it. So, what got you into playing video games?
So I'm an only child.
Mm-hmm.
At first in the neighborhood we lived in, there weren't a lot of kids, so it was like all I really had to do. I had video games, Legos, and Thomas the Tank Engine, and that was all I had to do for quite some time.
What was your first game/console?
To memory, it was the SNES and Mario on it. Didn't really know what I was doing, but you know.
What was the first one that you remember being like in love with?
Oh, the PS2.
And the game?
Or no, it'd be the GameCube, and it would be Mario Sunshine.
Good answer. Solid
Yep.
answer. Those weren't on there. I just thought I'd elaborate. So next, we've gone from your girlfriend to my man friend. Josh, forget about it, Scar.
Oh, Josh, forget about it. Hey, has that check cleared for him yet?
We don't talk about that. Josh has suggested that you get the Cultworthy on, so another vote for Antonio there from the Cultworthy.
Okay.
I look forward to when you reach out.
I'd love to have Antonio on. He had me on, so yeah, you know.
Reciprocation. So, Josh wants to know, what video game moment is seared into your brain?
Video game moment is seared into my brain.
I think so.
Ooh,
Josh has just released an episode of rent-free moments that live in your head forever.
No
I
one.
think this is where that's come from.
Yeah, no one talks about it, but do you remember this is one of them, but it's the first one that comes to mind. In GTA 5, when you're playing as Trevor and you had to torture that guy?
Yeah.
That'd be one. The other one is just my true bliss and enjoyment playing Half-Life Alyx.
Nice.
Getting to go back to the world of Half-Life in VR and the amount of time and detail that Valve has put into that game, chef's kiss.
Wow.
If we played it for the podcast, it'd be getting a 10 out of 10.
Nice. Well,
Yep.
we don't need to play it now. So, this Northern Shrimpy lad has sent us a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, thanks, Alex. Slade was just talking about your Half-Life and how good it is. So Alex wants to know, if you had to choose between never podcasting and never watching anime, which one would you choose?
Would you be mad if I chose anime over y'all?
You choose whatever you want, Slade.
I'm choosing anime over y'all.
So you would watch anime over making podcasts?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
See, what I would do is make YouTube videos where I deep dive and talk about them for hours, and then y'all would happen to be guests, but really they're documentary videos, not a podcast.
What if you couldn't do that? What if, okay, so the question is watching anime or content creation?
Oh. Yeah, I'd just rather watch anime. Content creation is a bit stressful.
Okay.
It takes a lot more time than you think. I could
Why'd
get
you
through a
do
lot more
it?
anime. What?
Why'd you do it then?
Because I like hanging out with y'all and I like playing games, and it's nice to have people to talk about it with.
Fair enough. No, I don't understand what Alex is saying here. I understand the question, but the phrasing is beyond my vocabulary.
Okay.
If you were truck-cunned into a fantasy world, what kind of fantasy world would it be, and what would you do there? I don't know what that means.
Do you know what truck-coon is?
I have no idea.
So truck-coon is a stereotype in anime where like somebody gets hit by a truck, they die, and then they get reincarnated in another world.
I just don't understand your cartoons and why you choose podcasts to die over them. But what fantasy world did you choose, and what would you do there?
If I got to choose the fantasy world, certainly wouldn't be Attack on Titan.
I wonder why.
Certainly wouldn't. I'd have to go for one of the more slice of life ones, like where like you get to take your skills that you have in life and then like they actually are useful, like farming in another world would be a good example of that. Joey, there's a really obscene one I've been watching this season, and it's so good, but it's a guy gets killed by the truck, right? Okay. And he reincarnates as a vending machine. And it's I don't want to watch this. It's such a dumb premise, but honestly, it's been my favorite thing I've been watching this season so far. It's been really good. It's very funny. Or the anime that I just did with Talking Smack recently, where we talked about Konosuba. That's an isekai. That's the genre it's called.
Got you. Okay, I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this next one.
Okay.
So Aaron from the Superpod Saga.
All right. Hi, Aaron.
Aaron says he would like to see Jameson from Bar Silence on here.
Okay.
I don't know the podcast. Bar Silence sounds quite interesting.
It does.
So, what is your favourite Digimon?
Ooh, I don't have one. Never watched Digimon.
Well, it's very important that you have a favourite Digimon for the rest of this question.
Whatever Digimon's your favourite, that one's mine too.
The little T-Rex dude.
Sure. Isn't that called Dry Bones? No, that's Mario. I never got into Digimon or Pokemon. It just never appealed to me.
So the Digimon is called Agumon.
All right,
and
sure.
It looks like a tiny little T-Rex.
Alrighty.
The follow-up question is, what is your favourite Pokemon?
Sorry, I wish I had one, but I don't.
You need one for the follow-up question.
Well, I don't have one.
Come on, just give me a Pokemon.
Pikachu.
Okay. Which one would win in a backyard cage wrestling match?
Pikachu, I guess.
Okay.
Just electrocute the bars, I suppose, right?
And which one would steal $5 from your wallet?
The Digimon, because he is a rip-off of Pokemon.
Okay. But he has got really big hands, so it'd be quite hard for him to sneakily steal $5.
That's fine. I don't normally have my wallet on me anyway, so he probably could get away with it.
Okay, cool. So Luke from the Nerdstalgic podcast has got in touch with a question. So he said, what's the one topic you'd love to cover, but you know no one else would listen, but you'd know you'd have a fantastic time covering it? I think I have an idea of what this may be for you.
Do you?
Yeah, your favourite different type of Argos. A whole podcast on drill bits.
I could do a whole podcast on drilling, and man, Casey asked me the other day, my girlfriend, to explain like some of that to her, and I just watched her eyes glaze over. But in her defense, I literally had like a notebook out with paper and was like drawing and like doing math. And
Do you want me to help you and make it really easy?
Yeah.
Things spin and go in ground.
Yeah. But I was going like in depth of what we actually do because
of
she
course.
was trying to explain it to a coworker, and she's like, "I have no idea what you actually do for work. What do you do?"
Well, us geotechnical engineers need to stick together, Slade. So.
This is a bit Joey has off camera, by the way, just so y'all know.
I hope you're not diminishing my qualifications.
I am 100% am.
Go on then. What's the one topic you'd love to cover, but no one would listen, but you would have a fantastic time covering it?
That would be it. It would be about what I do for work and everything. I would have a tremendous time talking about it. I had a great time on Fuck My Work Life.
Mm-hmm. That was a great episode.
But I was talking to them more about like just the fun and everything. But like I have some friends here in town who work for competitors of mine. I got them jobs at where they are now. I wasn't hiring at the time, and I was like, hey, this is a good career. You have a lot of advancement you can make, and there's plenty of money in it. But I got them jobs there, kind of thing.
Nice
and,
flex from Slade there.
Yeah.
There's plenty of money in this.
There is. No, but we're everybody in my field is desperate for other people, like desperate for employees. Except for Tim. And Tim, you can't have one because you don't have a driver's license.
Would you? If Tim did have a driving license, would you hire him?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah. You want a job?
I'd love a job.
Okay, great. You just got to be outside in the heat, which y'all bitch about all the time.
Well, no, it's a different type of heat. We have a nice. Well, you have a nice heat. We have a.
I do not have a nice heat. I live in Satan's swamp ass.
Look. We have spent the last 4 or 5 episodes, mainline episodes, moaning about the heat. So let's not let it bleed into.
But like, if you get my friend Corey and I, who we recommended, Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion.
Mm-hmm.
If you get him and I in a room. Probably like 30 minutes or so will be dedicated to us just talking shop, and then once we have it out of our system, we're good.
Okay.
I actually there's a podcast I do listen to called that'd be one. I forgot who asked it earlier. Some I'd like to be on. It's The Driller.
That was Dan.
Which is Dan, who has a magazine just about literally drilling. That would be one.
I subscribe. It's a good one. So, would you do anything on Thomas? Our boy Tom?
I could do that. I was watching a video earlier from the Unlucky Tug going over.
It sounds like your last night for you, doesn't it?
But he's doing a deep dive into the map that the Reverend Wilbert Audrey drew for the series. And what you don't realize, everybody thinks, ooh, silly little train show with faces. But when he's over there talking about wars where thousands of people died, which is all a part of the canon. Yeah, it's really good. I could do one on that for a while. I could do one on Five Nights at Freddy's. I think Tim would hang himself after a while. But
do you know what? I'd love to get on board with that. Five Nights at Freddy's is one of those things that has a disgustingly complex lore that I am all here for.
We could do one on Christian. That would be another one.
No, not doing it. I don't even know who that is. That's wiped from my brain. Moving on very quickly. So, Alex, the other half of Gaming and Collecting Podcast, has got in touch.
Ooh, hooray.
And has suggested Dave Jackson, Tales from the Backlog.
I've had Dave on.
So there you go.
Thanks, Alex, for listening. I see you pay so much attention.
Did we release this survey before or after Dave Jackson?
After.
Oh, okay. Maybe, well, you did say guests or returning guests. So
that's true.
You can apologise now to Alex, please.
I'm not apologising.
Okay, good.
She knows what she did.
You will never find Slade on Gaming and Collecting again. What's your biggest facepalm moment in podcasting?
Us not noticing that you had your microphone the wrong way around for like 3 episodes.
That's my biggest facepalm.
Tim and I should have heard it. We should have noticed.
What about the episode where I didn't have my mic plugged in and it was going up on my laptop microphone?
That should have been that's another one. We should have known.
Great. So your biggest facepalm moment is me fucking up. Love it.
Yeah, because we should have noticed.
If you can go back and change one thing about your show, what would it be?
I don't want to say change our release schedule, but kind of. It would benefit us greatly if maybe we did like once every 3 weeks or monthly, but that is a big gap in content, so it's it's kind of a give or take thing.
Well, we've gone from once fortnightly now to we release twice weekly, technically.
Right, but I'm saying like for the main line.
Yeah, of course.
I'm thinking because some of the games we're playing are longer and longer. I think having more time to do that is where we do have the schedule, but life gets in the way of certain things.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Why won't you watch One Piece?
Because it's 1,100 episodes.
You could just watch the live action.
It's I could, but it's okay. So look, do you know about One Piece?
I have.
Are you aware?
One Piece.
So One Piece is around 1,100 episodes. It's not done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going anywhere. I've also watched the first 100 episodes, and I feel like if the fact that I watched 100 episodes and I didn't get into it, I feel like I'm okay to.
I think you probably have a pass there.
Yeah, I think I have a pass for that. She is probably a bit bitter because the main character Luffy, his power is referred to as gears, right?
Okay.
So on Gaming and Collecting, she was going all out about Gear 5 is the newest thing.
Okay.
To give you an idea, Joey, it's slapstick like Looney Tunes over the top. Like that's what this. Yeah, right. I see you rolling your eyes. So in their server, I was like, I don't know what's so special about Gear 5. I have Gear 6, and my Jeep is a 6-speed manual.
Are you a dad? That's such a dad joke to me. I have to admit, Alex didn't actually suggest Dave Jackson from Tales from the Backlog. That was me making a mistake. That's actually from our next thing. So I would like to apologise to Alex. Slade, would you like to, or?
Nah, it's fine.
Okay. Well, sorry, Alex.
We'll fight it out at the next anime roundtable.
Well. So next we have Dylan from the Offshore Games Cast.
Yeah, they were our first guest, if I'm not mistaken.
They were. Offshore Gamecast. I keep saying Games Cast when it's actually they're all Gamecast. I don't know how much difference that makes. So, Dylan asks, you have to erase one of your favourite games from history. This includes all of the effects it has on the gaming industry. What are you killing off and why?
One of my favorite games?
Yes.
It'd be interesting to see the world without Call of Duty.
Okay.
It is, we've said before in the World of War episode, that's not out yet, but this was one of my favorite series. Yeah, literally next Monday you can listen to us talk about it. It was one of my favorite series. It's obviously fallen downhill. Anybody's been playing it for a long time. Mm-hmm. I would like to see the state of gaming without the precedent I think they set up about having a game every year.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see that.
Well, it's like Assassin's Creed. I feel like those games could be absolutely incredible, but Ubisoft pride themselves on releasing every single year, therefore watering down any creativity that they may put into the game.
Right.
So what effect does that have on the gaming industry if you're killing off Call of Duty?
I think it removes a big part of the precedent about releasing every year for AAA.
Mm-hmm.
We lose out on the horde mode of zombies.
Yeah.
But I think that's okay because Gears and Left 4 Dead exist.
But were they not influenced at all? This is a genuine question. I don't know. Were they not influenced?
No. Horde mode. I think Horde mode in Gears 2 or 3 came out before World at War.
Okay.
Either that or they're the same year. That's a good question, actually.
Okay.
But I don't think you have things like that. But I don't. Because Call of Duty multiplayer it makes so much money on certain things nowadays, and a lot of people want to be that. And it's to the point now that Call of Duty wants to be Fortnite with just its battle royales, so it's kind of subsided itself.
Okay, fair enough.
So would the scale of multiplayer change? Would certain aspects of the first-person shooter change?
Probably, yeah. Definitely worth thinking about. Maybe we could do a bonus episode on that kind of thing, and where we all bring one. Great question, Dylan. So, Play Along Podcast got in touch.
Hey.
They have suggested Dave Jackson to come back. Eric from Unlockables. Chris as a returning guest from Chris from 1 Hour 1 Decision, and Nathan Phil from Gaming Together.
Okay.
So those are their suggestions. They've said 3 questions. First one, how did you get into podcasting?
Ooh, that's more of a question for you than it is me.
Well, I want to hear it from your side.
Joey asked if I'd like to be on his podcast where we talked about games once every 2 weeks, not too dissimilar to a book club. And I said, hell yeah.
There is one thing I'd like to change from that. I never said, would you like to be on my podcast? It's very much not my podcast. It's very much all 3 of our podcasts. So, yeah, I think we've told this story on the Game Club pod before.
Yeah, I think early on. I think it's been a long time. Would you like to tell it?
Yeah,
because
so
it's the podcast is your idea at the end of the day.
Well, the initial idea was, but I mean, what it's snowballed into is very much an amalgamation of nonsense from all 3 of us. But I wanted to do a podcast for ages, and I had all these ideas, and then I thought, I've met Slade and spoken to Slade. Well, I spoke to Slade. I've met Slade in person once. He seemed like a really fun guy, and spoken to him and watched his streams, and I like how he presents himself, and I think it'd be really interesting to have conversations with. So I spoke to Tim, who was good friends with you. Still is good friends with you, sorry, I should say. That was poor phrasing. Tim, who's good friends with Slade anyway. But I didn't really know you that well at that point. And I said to Tim, do you think Slade would be interested in us 3 doing a podcast like a book club on video games, which I stole from another podcast? And he said, I don't know, ask him. So I sent you a DM on Twitter. That was how we always used to communicate, was purely through DMs on Twitter.
Right.
And I said, look, this is the idea. What do you think? And you said, well, let's give it a go for 1 or 2 episodes and see what we think. And we're just about to release episode 63 next week of the Mainline Game Show. So went pretty well.
Yeah, I think so too.
And Play Along Pod's second question is, what made you start Between Two Pods as a series?
Okay. So what made me start it was trying to figure out ways to get guests on and a bit of cross promotion. But for me to say, hey, could you play all of Breath of the Wild and then we talk about it in 2 weeks? Or just to complete a game, right? For you to be a guest on the Mainline series. For you to complete a game and then having the schedule and time, that's way too complicated. So my second idea was an interview show where I could just sit down, chat with you, and keep it very casual. And I think it's worked out very well. I think this has been great.
Good, I agree. I think it's really good fun. And then the final question from Play Along is, what is one game that everyone sleeps on?
Ooh,
sorry, I think it's one great game that everyone sleeps on.
Everybody sleeps on. That's a really good question, actually. You're gonna have to give me a minute because I'm going to have to think about that.
Slade's frantically opening up his Steam library.
I am looking at Steam right now. What is a game that everybody sleeps on? It's actually nope, not that tab.
Not what?
Nothing. It's okay.
Is this all the hentai games you have?
Yes, I accidentally clicked on that tab. You know what? Just because it's came across the top here while I'm looking through games. There's a few of them I'd like to name. One of them is A Hat in Time. If you like 3D Mario platformers, that's great. I think Jazz Punk. It's a very weird indie title. It's worth a look at. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's very fun. Panzer Knights, if you like anime girls and tanks, that's all you all day long. I was looking at stuff I have installed as well, but all the stuff I think we have talked about in, a lot of detail. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know what I'd really have outside of that.
You said a few there. I was going to suggest at one point A Hat in Time on the pod.
A Hat in
because
Time
I've never played it and I've heard it's good.
It's very good. I would recommend that to you.
Well, I can't play it now that I know that you like it. I've got to choose games you hate.
Yeah, I'll do that on purpose. I swear you do.
Yeah, we do. So, We're down to the final submitted question.
Okay.
I have some questions for you.
Oh, you do?
I do. But the final submission comes under the name Joey Fitz. I didn't write this. This came after I had a stern chat with Casey about... Have we said Casey's name on the pod before?
We
Okay,
have.
that's fine.
We have.
I worried I was doxing your lovely girlfriend then. And I said that her question of how handsome he is and how much he loves games and all this nonsense is sickening. Very much as I did in this episode. So Casey has written on my behalf, I think cute couples are disgusting. Casey's love for Slade is traumatizing. I don't know how I could possibly stand watching this adorable, amazing couple. And for a guest on the pod, she's put yours truly, Casey, so she's signing off the message. However, that's actually Casey signing up to be a guest on the podcast.
Right, which to me means I can't interview her, so I have to sit her down with you and Tim.
Yeah.
And y'all have to berate her.
Berate is strong. I would question her judging character.
Especially after hearing about the toilet paper shenanigans.
Yes. No, of course, I'm only joking. Casey's very lovely. So, my questions for you.
Okay.
Game Club Pod has evolved a lot.
Yes.
In the 62 episodes that we've released, soon to be 63.
Yeah.
What do you prefer, the old or the new format?
I like the new format. Obviously, I'm not a fan of the jingles.
Why not?
I just don't like. I just think they're. I've heard them too many times,
Look,
and hearing the edit.
That's my job. That's my full-time job, is making those jingles.
Yeah, no, I'm over the jingles. I like the quiz at the end. I like how much more naturally we talk in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I like the new format a lot better.
So I wondered, and I'd like to get your opinion on this. I think we tried harder with the games at the start.
I think so too. I still think we do a pretty good job covering them, but I feel like we're more relaxed than just talking about games like you would be with your friends sitting in a Discord call. I feel like it's more relaxed.
There's an upcoming episode which I won't name for you, but Slade, it's the one directly after Call of Duty, where I feel like the episode itself was about the bit where we talked about the game was about 20 minutes.
Yep.
And the rest of it is like post and preamble.
That's because there wasn't much to say about it.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest pressure in podcasting is?
What do you mean by biggest pressure?
So, what's the hardest part of creating a podcast?
Genuinely, it's financial. If you want the honest truth, it's, spending the money on nice headphones, the games, good mic setup. That's like the most expensive thing, right? That's the hardest part, I think.
Mm-hmm. That was like Tay.
Do I know?
Did you get that reference? Slade leaned away and burped away from the mic.
Oh,
and said it was
he follows me on.
Day.
He follows me on Twitter.
So
no idea
strange.
why. Yeah, no idea why, but he does.
Can you tweet him after this and tell him to listen?
Sure. I'll. You know what? I'm gonna ask him to be a guest.
That would be so good.
No, it's editing. Maybe.
Do you enjoy editing?
Sometimes.
You're giving me a lot of answers here, Slade. If you hit that 1 hour mark and you think I don't need to do anymore.
No, so here's the thing, is when I say sometimes because in our mainline episodes, when Joey and Tim are just going on a swearing rampage for like 5 minutes.
I don't do that.
Yes, you swear more than anybody else on the podcast.
I don't do that. I'm very, very controlled.
No, you're not. You are not.
I genuinely think I am.
I genuinely think you swear the most out of everybody.
Really? Oh, I might have to change that.
You and Tim, and then it's you, Tim, and then me. Because I censor myself the least whenever I edit.
No, I don't buy that. I don't.
But Yeah, sure.
You edit your episodes though, and you like the games on your episodes. When it's us editing yours on games you don't like, you go off on swearing rampages.
I cannot bring myself to pick a bad game. I genuinely can't. I've tried before. I just can't do it. I wouldn't want to put y'all through that.
Yeah, but my point is that you're looking at this in the isolated bubble of the episodes you've chosen. Whereas Tim and I choose them on ones that you don't like, and that's when you start to swear.
No, you swear more than I swear you do.
Yeah, you just said you swear, so I'm gonna count them out on the episode that I need to upload.
Do it. You're gonna be like, damn, I do cuss the most.
Oh, flipping heck, that's me. That's what I'll be like because I don't swear.
Yeah, right. You're getting demonetized on YouTube immediately.
Exactly.
No, for other pressures of podcasting, I always say that I don't like being the one who hates games. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather come in here and gush about good games. We have one coming up that I'm not going to name, but I had so much fun playing it, and I didn't pick it. And I think that's...
I know what it is.
Yeah, I think that's where the bias, Slade has a bias, comes from. It's just because I can't bring myself to pick a bad game for you two.
It's disgusting, really.
I always want to make sure that you two have fun.
Well, don't make us play flipping unpacking, then.
All right.
What's the most disappointing moment on the podcast?
You ever heard of this game called Unpacking and how you two just shat all over it? That is a lovely, relaxing game, and y'all are just awful people who want to murder and shoot everything.
I have never felt as bad as I did when we came off of that recording, simply because you were so into it, you were so wanting us to love it, and then I just hated every second of it.
I liked the way it told its story. I enjoyed the game. I had a great time playing it. It's not a big commitment. It's very short. I don't think it deserved the hate that it got.
Do you not remember the words that I described it as? They ring in my ears whenever anyone mentions unpacking.
What?
Unfathomably boring.
Yeah, I had a great time with it.
There you go, and that's why you tweet little loving messages, and I come in there and dump all over them.
You do, and I hate that so much. It's a happy, fun game, Joey.
Well, there you go. Last question is, of all of the guest spots you've had on here or had elsewhere, like you've had a lot of guests, you've been a guest a lot of times.
Yep.
What's your single favourite episode? If someone said, Slade, I know you do podcasts, what should I listen to? Which one episode would you point them to? I don't want to hear the Zelda trilogy. I want to hear a single episode. And why?
A single episode. Half-Life 2 of our podcast.
Oh, really?
Am I allowed to name that?
You can name whatever you want, as long as it's a single episode.
Yeah, I think we had a good time. I think we all had a good time playing it. I think, the game is good in general. You can see a lot of influence that it had. I like it, as much as I like it when we all get together to give a game a shin kicking. I don't think that should be somebody's introduction to our podcast.
Yeah. No, I agree. Okay, so actually I said final question. I have thought of one more. What game did you go into playing thinking, I'm going to hate every second of this, and actually liked?
Ooh, we haven't recorded it yet. Can I say it? I'm just going to say it. It's Minecraft Dungeons.
Okay, cool.
I thought it was going to be really stupid, but man, that's been one of the most fun things I've played all year.
Good. Glad to hear it. Well, that is all of my questions, Slade. Thank you for taking us through it.
Thank you. So here at the end of this episode of Between Two Pods, like I said in the beginning, I have no guests or anything lined up at the moment, so it's on hiatus until I can get.
So tragic.
Yeah, it's on hiatus until I can get that worked out. But you all have given me a long list to work with, and thank you very much. Also, thank you for listening, submitting questions, and being guests on the show yourselves. We'll get in touch with those people. Maybe we can have some repeat guests. I need new questions for, I guess, what we could call season 2.
Wow, are you doing seasons now?
I guess. I don't know what to do.
It's exciting.
No. But we're going to go through, and all these people are going to just be blasted on Twitter, and make sure you hound them for their episode.
Choice words there, Slade. Get blasted.
Get blasted.
Can you sign off all of your podcasts with "get blasted" now?
No, that'd be as ridiculous if I said "take that, you bastards."
Is that how you want to sign this off?
No, it isn't. Joey, what's your plugs?
So I've started on Two Blokes from Blighty. Actually, that's my plug. Go and listen to Two Blokes from Blighty. It's the part of Game Club Pod that Slade is mentioned frequently on, but isn't on himself. Because I don't know if you've noticed, the man is not from Blighty. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend. Every Wednesday, Tim and I talk nonsense for between 40 minutes and an hour. It's good fun to record, even if I do miss my Alabama brethren.
Aww.
Sickening, isn't it?
It is. Would you like to do my plugs, since you have it nailed down so perfectly?
No. Put me under pressure here. So
would you like to do it?
You can find me on Twitter under Slade Plays Games. You can find me on Instagram at Slade's Life. Also on Blue Sky as Slade Plays Games with the Z.
Yes.
Because he's really cool like that.
That was a typo, by the way. I didn't mean to hit the Z, and I can't figure out how to change my name.
Slade Plays Games. I've forgotten how you actually word it, but those are your plugs from me.
My name is Slade. You can find me at Slade Plays Games on Twitter, Twitch, AnyList, and Blue Sky at Slade Plays Games with the Z, or Z, if you're from the wrong side of the world. And you can find me at Slade's Life on Instagram.
Right, well, how do you want to sign it off, Slade?
Oh, that'd be it. I just once again, I just want to reiterate my thank you to everybody who filled this out, and everybody who's listened, everybody who submitted questions. Only other thing I'll ask of you, if you've listened, for the last hour and 12 minutes, if you have a question that's not in my normal rotation that you think I should be asking these podcasters, please send it to me. My DMs are open. Just say, hey, I think this would be a good question to add to Between Two Pods.
Cool.
Just let me know.
Great. Well, thanks for letting me ask you the question, Slade.
You're welcome.
Get drilled and take that, you bastard.